Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Mary Clair Olson Potter, and it's my pleasure today to interview and speak with Elizabeth Snoderly, who is the director and executive producer of this lovely Christmas film that's being filmed right here in Hudson. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are so excited that I know that you are wrapping up your filming until we get more snow, and you'll return in January, right?
Yes, yes.
Like I said, I can't believe we don't have snow today, but just share with us a little bit how you got started in directing.
Well, my start was initially with a travel show for kids, and it was an educational show that was on a lot of NBC channels on 90% of the country, and we basically had, this fun little TV show about kids kind of going different places and what you can do when you're in like Washington and New York and Boston. And we just went all over the country having, these three hosts or three different kids that basically explored different areas. We went to state parks. We showed a lot of really fun things because as a mom, the idea of the show came from the fact that I have 4 children, and I'm always, trying to figure out those special times, like vacation times in the summer when you want to take your kids on vacation, where they want to go. And you'd say, well, where do you guys want to go for our summer vacation, or these, time that you have together as family? And my kids just never knew. And I thought, well, that would be really fun to have something for kids where they could, say, hey, wait, on this TV show, I remember seeing, going to Washington. It was really cool because we even had the Smithsonian for like the whole evening to ourselves. We're in the building alone, just the production crew and some of the people from the Smithsonian. And it just was really fun for kids to find interesting things about different areas and just trying to highlight the different areas of the country that you can go and visit and explore. So that's how I started. And then I really, really wanted to expand into a movie, and we did a movie. And I usually worked in production where I basically helped to organize the film. And I always tease people who are like, what does a producer do? And I always say, it's like having a party, and the person who organizes the party and makes sure people are fed and housed. And, everything gets kind of done with the producers who get to do a lot of the not so fun stuff. We are the ones that are organizing the filming, having to set the budget, trying to work within a certain amount of money that we have. And it's, it's really fun, but at the same time, I ended up basically going into directing because I started to help out so much with the films that when we would finish the film, I actually ended up many times helping to put it back together for editing, and maybe even going back and doing reshoots when I didn't have a director. I would work with a lot of really wonderful directors who were very talented, but they would be freelancing. So they would be available during this time, but then after that, they weren't available. So it really got me into more of the story. I had episodes. Well, I had one film where I basically had to do rewrites. 4 pages of rewrites that I got from Mar Vista were required, and my writer was not available. So that was probably the first time I had to just basically take the script and rewrite it. And, and I just got better and better as I did film after film. After a while, I started to see, wow, I would have done that differently than what the director did. The reason I love doing romance films is because I'm the demographic. I'm that female who loves to watch holiday films. I like happy films. I like happy endings. I'm actually a physician, and I work, as a physician, I see a lot of sadness. And I think that, when I go home and I want to watch TV and I want to watch a movie, I want it to be a happy movie because there's enough sadness out there. I need to, you want to feel, happiness, and just, it's more enjoyable to watch something that is going to have a happy ending.
That is true. That is true. Now, we know that this is a Christmas film.
Yes. Yes.
So we know the title may change, but what drew you to this script?
I work with a distributor, Vanessa Shapiro, who actually sold our first film that we did years ago, called 3 Times the Charm. And she had a writer that also loves Christmas films and loves romance scripts. And she basically wrote this. And I just love the concept. It was fun. It reminds me of Sleepless in Seattle, which is one of my favorite.
Yes, love that movie.
Yeah, and I love Nora Ephron. She's like one of my I don't know, one of my idols, I should say. I really love her as a writer and director. And it reminded me a lot of that script, a lot of the same components of Christmas, and the fact that, you have somebody who's lost his wife. He's very, very sad. And it just kind of gives you the feeling of, there's something there when they, she feels a draw to him when she sees him on this cooking show.
Mhm.
And of course, other women do too as well. They really like him, this Patrick, who is the widowed firefighter. And it's just kind of cool that fate kind of brings them together, that there's something there between them, and that he's able to find love again. It's just a very sweet story.
Oh,
And then also he does have his daughter who is 18 and she worries about him. So it's so many wonderful relationships in the script. You not only have the main leads who find love, you know what I mean? And there is something with fate that's kind of working there to bring these two together. But then you have the father-daughter relationship, which is so sweet because she really worries about her dad. She wants to go to college, but she really feels like she can't leave him until he has somebody to be with, somebody to make him happy. So it's just really sweet. And the talent that we have in this film, they're so good. I mean, they're so talented. And it was so funny because even directing these guys, I really felt the bond between the daughter and the dad, during the filming. And I think that they all got along really well and they worked together, and there was such a nice relationship with the talent.
Oh, that's great.
It was fun. It was a fun project. But my first directing was the Christmas film that's now on Lifetime called The Christmas Listing.
Yes, that was really good. Loved that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I
just filmed in Minnesota, right?
It was in Minnesota. Yeah, we did it in
Minnesota. Okay.
Santee in Minneapolis. Well, it's a Santee, Minnesota, which is north of Minneapolis.
Yes.
It's where at the farmstead, Erickson Farmstead is where we actually filmed that. And they were great to work with. They were wonderful.
So speaking of locations, I mean, there's a lot of places that you could go.
Mm-hmm.
When Riley and Paul reached out to me and I'm like, a movie in Hudson, I've always thought, I've lived here, 23 years, and I've always thought we have a great place for a movie to be filmed. But how did you select Hudson? You have a lot of options to choose from.
Yeah, we actually looked at several small towns because we obviously wanted a small town that was, a pretty setting. We looked at a few, and Hudson just kind of drew us in because it's such a wonderful community. I will say that the community has been so supportive. We just love you guys. You guys are amazing. And the thing is that to have the community come and be very helpful and say, listen, we want to help with, you guys helped us find places to house our crew. You found different locations. You were just so wonderful to work with. And I mean, it really makes a world of difference. We want to be, we love to work with people who are supportive and helpful. I mean, I just couldn't have asked for a better community. It was wonderful. And, I was teasing my staff because I'm like, heck, I want to do all of our Christmas films in Hudson because it was such a great place to work. I mean, you guys, we were lucky because the fire station, had that fire station that you guys had moved out of into a new fire station. And it was perfect because our film is about a firefighter. And so we had to have a fire station, and it just worked out great. And then, the fire station, I mean, the fire department's been amazing. I mean, they brought in fire trucks for us to have in the scenes. I mean, it was just, we are so thankful. I don't know what to say. It's amazing how much support and help you guys, gave us.
Well, it was fun when I was talking with Paul and Riley, and they were talking about some of the scenes that they were thinking about. And they're like, well, he's a cook, right?
Yes.
So I thought if we do an annual Christmas tour of homes every year where we feature 4 privately owned homes and then the Octagon House. Mm-hmm. And we had done a lovely home that was rebuilt last year, but I mean, the kitchen was just huge and her island is just huge. And she is just a delight. And I said, oh, I think I have the perfect kitchen area for you. So yes. I sent a note to her and I'm like, do you want to be in this film? I think your home would be perfect. So that was the one that you did.
It was beautiful. In fact, some of the crew worried. We even said, gee, this house is so beautiful. Is it too nice for, it's just such a nice house. It was beautiful. And it filmed beautifully. All the locations we have used. I mean, we filmed at the boutique downtown called Rue Marche. I mean, I just watched the dailies on that yesterday, and it's beautiful.
Did it turn out well?
Yeah, I mean, she's so creative, and you walk in, it's a beautiful boutique to begin with. So we really didn't have a lot of work on our hands. She made it beautiful, and the house was beautiful. I mean, all the locations have been amazing.
Right, great. So how do you cast a show? I mean, so you have the script, and you're thinking. I mean, so how do you kind of cast it?
We actually work with a casting director out of Los Angeles. Donald Pemrick and Dean Franck are the two that we work with a lot of times. It was a little bit of a challenge because we opted to go non-union on this one. We usually go with SAG, but it was so difficult with COVID that, we were working within a budget. We were already, we're doing COVID testing twice a week. We're trying to keep people in a bubble. We did have some challenges in that respect, but we were very fortunate because we found some really wonderful talent. Right. And it was through the casting director. They usually submit a breakdown to all the managers and agents in the LA area. And we did the casting of our principals was with them. Okay. Then we also did some local casting. Okay. Of different actors and talent. And I found really some wonderful talent in the area that we've worked with. We've been very lucky.
Well, I did apply, and I know that you couldn't do many, but there wasn't room for me to put in there that I was Kim and Bye Bye Birdie. So.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to make a note of that the next time.
Okay, next time. Okay, we will, definitely.
Yeah, it's my claim to fame. But
yes, I will say with COVID, it was so sad because you have such a beautiful community. We had such wonderful support, and we had so many people reach out to help to be extras. And due to the virus, this pandemic right now, we had to be very careful. And so, we couldn't bring in a lot of extra people to be part of the film, which was the biggest disappointment. Right. Hopefully when we're outside and doing exteriors, we might be able to bring in more of the community at that point, because we'll be outside and we just have to, work it some way to keep people distant. Right. Our concern is that the actors, unfortunately, have to put their mask down when they're doing a scene. Yes. So that's why we're really protective of the talent, not being around anybody who could possibly be infected. So everybody who came on set, even the extras, the few extras that we did have, had to be COVID tested before they could come. So it's unfortunate, but we'll see. Hopefully the vaccine will be more readily available by the time we come back to do filming.
Well, and we do appreciate you. I mean, I know you have your own precautions, and we appreciate that too. And it's challenging, but there's light at the end of the tunnel, we're feeling. So with the vaccine, we can see that. So what is it about the directing that, your top favorite things that you enjoy the most?
I think if you have really wonderful cast, like we had some, really great cast for this, and they really cared about the story, and they really seemed to want to do a really great job and bring those characters to life. It's just very rewarding to see it come together. I mean, it's very addicting, I'll tell you that. You just love it because you find the story, you get yourself involved in the story, and you're creating the dynamics between these two characters, and you want it to be real. I mean, the most important thing for us is to make sure that the talent feel comfortable enough to be relaxed and to really make that character come alive, and you have to be real careful because people think, oh, it seems so easy to act, just to say the lines, but it's a lot harder than you think. I had to actually play a small role. And it's always good sometimes to be on the other side, because you realize, wow, this is really hard. I'm trying to be really natural and be myself, while I'm trying to remember those lines. Wait, what was that line again? You're like, I'm supposed to be saying, because when the camera comes on, you're like, oh, wait a minute. And it's good to experience that as a director, because you're like, now I realize what the talent's going through, what the actors feel. But I think our talent were so good because they really cared. Like, I would have Rib Hillis, who is playing Patrick, he would be like, now, wait a minute. At this time, I'm very sad. I've lost my wife. I mean, it's like he really tries to get into the character, as well as Alex, our lead female, who they want to be that in that in that character's feeling mode. I don't know how to explain that. You really want to feel that character's emotion at that time in their life. Where he's sad. He's been without his wife for 3 years, who he loves so much, and no one can replace her. And I think he really. He and Alex both brought it. They were really good. It's just fun to see the interaction between them and see what the actors do. Sometimes they do things unexpected. Like you think, wow, this is the way it's going to be said. And then maybe they don't do it that way. They do it a totally different way. And you're like, wow, that really is kind of cool. I love it, But it's fun. It was fun to start directing. I really love being on this end of the creative side versus just the one helping to organize stuff, which, is so important too. Both are important.
So we get to see you in this movie?
Oh yeah. No. Yes,
We do? Really?
Well, because we had to be really careful with bringing people from outside.
Right.
So you will see me in different places. You may see my legs in some of the stuff where I have a sign holding it up for Patrick, and then also I play Fran, who's the girl at work who talks to Lori. Okay. And really her character, I did add that scene because I wanted people to understand Lori a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And I felt like in the beginning, there were certain things we just adjusted. I mean, Lisa's a wonderful writer. She did a great job. I really didn't have too much work I had to do on my end, but at the same time, I just felt like I didn't really know Lori well enough, because we really get to know Patrick in the beginning because he's with his daughter, he's on the TV show, and you really get a sense of him whenever you see that beginning scene where he's actually on the TV show and he talks about himself. But we don't really get to know much about Lori, so I wanted people to understand that Lori's a very giving person. Fran just basically says, "Thank you for sending me flowers after my surgery, and that you do so much for everybody else around here, and I don't think they appreciate it." So she's basically giving some of the information that, and sometimes you use your different characters to give more of an understanding about who is this character, So that was kind of my job. But, it's hard because I even wrote the lines. And yet when I had to say them on camera, it was kind of like, what am I supposed to say again? You know what I mean? It's like funny how you're like, gosh, I should know this because I wrote it, but it's a little different. Yeah. So, and when I work with my actors, I'm always like, listen, if you feel like you would say it differently, like if, you're in that character and you wouldn't say, I have to go now. You would say, hey, I got to get out of here. Okay. Like do whatever makes you feel comfortable, and you can change the lines as long as you're meaning the same thing. So I even found myself doing that as well for my own lines.
Well, that's nice though, because it sounds like you give them some freedom to kind of, as they're in the moment in that character, if it feels more comfortable to say it this way, like it would play out that way, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they're professionals. A lot of the talent are so good. Right. And I think if you work together as a team and you collaborate and you say, oh, I really, because sometimes you'll let them do whatever they feel more comfortable with. And it's wonderful. Sometimes it's just like magic. Like, wow, that turned out so great. I think that's really important to do that.
Oh, that's great. So we know that these romantic holiday films are just growing in popularity, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, like you said, people are just looking for things to lift their spirits. I mean, especially in this past 2020. I mean, I was watching all the Christmas in July films and, I'm going through all of those films. And so is that what you think is just building so much popularity for these films? Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we, a lot of times now, for me, at least, I go to work and I come home. I try not to, a lot of people aren't going out. They're not able to go out and to be with other people. So there is a part of feeling, especially in my other job where I work with patients, a lot of my patients feel very secluded. They feel very, alone, trying to stay away from everybody. And I do have a lot of elderly patients who are basically still quarantining, and so it's like you feel that these films are so uplifting, and it's a lot about relationships, and a lot about the good part of humanity. And,
Right.
Christmas is a wonderful time of year because everybody is a little kinder to each other, and you try to really appreciate everybody in your life, during Christmas. And you get to hopefully one way or another spend time with family where, maybe Zooming, but still it just gives you a feeling of, happiness when you watch these films.
So will you sit when the film is all done, will you sit with your family and watch it, or how does that work with you and your children? Do you?
It just depends. Like on the Christmas listing, I was so lucky that I was actually home before I flew out to do this film.
Okay.
So I would be home and watch the film with my husband. I both sat down and watched it, and my children are all different places, so we try to sit down and watch it together.
Right.
But sometimes we don't. I mean, the thing is, you really see the film quite a bit in the next few months. With this film, we're going to be editing it. We'll do a rough cut, and then we'll be doing several different adjustments to the actual picture.
Okay.
And then once you get that set, then you have to send it off for a sound mix. Then you have to send it out for scoring of the music under it. Then you have to put other music on it. And then you have to color the film. And then, I'm going to be so familiar with this film. I will have watched it probably, 50 times at the end of it. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of fun with the other one because you watch it over and over and you're making adjustments. And then, I hadn't seen it for a while. And then to kind of sit down and relax and be able to watch it and not have to critique it, it was kind of fun to do that. But by the time it's done, you're kind of like, okay, let's move on to another project for a little while. I got to take a break,
Are you able to sit and enjoy it though? And I'm always critiquing myself all the time.
No, I'm always critiquing too. Trust me, I'm always critiquing. I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I would have done this differently. But you're always going to do that. There's so much I learned on that film. And I think I'll be continuing to learn, every film I do is probably going to be a lesson. So.
Do you have future films coming up for you and that you're planning to do after? I don't know what more you can do after Hudson, but.
Right. We do. We have another one that we're in the works that we don't know when we're going to do it for sure. But we do have another one that's really cute. It's going to be a cute film too. And it's funny because sometimes I'll write the script. Like I wrote the Christmas listing with Sage Mears, who
yes, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. And so we kind of collaborated together, and she wrote it, and then I just did some rewrites. Well, then this one was mostly Lisa, but after I read Lisa's this one, I did ask her to write this next one that we're going to be doing. It's a Christmas film. I did have a treatment. Basically, a treatment is where you kind of write the whole storyline. You write the whole story out on maybe a page or two, where you're saying, this is what happens. So-and-so, does this and meets this, and you write the whole storyline. And then we did ask Lisa to please write the script. Okay. So she actually wrote that script as well, that Lexi Giovannioli and I had worked on and developed the story. We basically wrote the story.
And that's a holiday one too, right?
That is also a holiday one. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I love Christmas. Obviously, you'll find out.
Well, you do a great job with all of them. So
thank you. In fact, my family has banned me from buying any more Christmas stuff because I love Christmas, and it's always hard because it's my favorite time of year. So I like to buy, it's another Santa, So
will you go home now and decorate, or is it already decorated for you?
I have my Christmas tree up, but I have nothing really. I'm way behind on my decorating. In fact, I just sent out my Christmas cards yesterday, so I'm really behind. I haven't had a chance to do.
Well, I think it's pretty impressive that you're directing and producing a film and you got Christmas cards out.
I know. I had to go do the quick, a few hours. I had to get them done very quickly. So.
Well, but I think that's impressive that you've done that. So.
Yes. Yeah. Usually by now I have everybody's gifts wrapped and I've sent them off to family members, but I just haven't gotten that done. So, you can't, it's not about the gifts though. It's about the spending time together, and just, hopefully they'll forgive me for not. They're going to get their Christmas gifts after Christmas, probably.
Well, that's all right, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
One just last question for those that might be interested in getting involved or, studying film and all of that. What kind of top tips would you have for them?
Ooh, gosh, that's a tough one because I'm really unconventional.
Okay.
That I got involved. I got involved because I had children who were in acting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to help out on set. I just had to be there because, you have to have a guardian.
Right.
And then I started helping out, and then I started to get, had different ideas. Gosh, I think the best thing is if you can get on a set and help out, even if you have to volunteer to work as a production assistant, and even, the person who's grabbing the coffee and running errands. We have had so many people that start out as production assistants. Our gaffer, who does all of our lighting to make the film look beautiful, he started out as a production assistant with us, and he was so hardworking. He was just amazing that he basically has worked his way up to where, the gaffer does all the lighting. They work with the director of photography to make the picture look beautiful. And a lot of the people that we work with, or, some of the younger individuals, they've been through film school, and film school is wonderful. I mean, I started a program at the Academy of Art in San Francisco on my own online because I wanted to really understand directing, and I think it was really wonderful because it taught me how to do stories, because every week I'd have to write another story, and it really helps you to get, kind of get your creative juices going. But you don't have to go to film school if you, this is one area where you could pretty much, do on-the-job training, and you can learn so much from, the people who are more seasoned. People do seem to really be nice about mentoring other individuals. But John, like I said, he I believe went to film school, but then he worked as a PA on set, making the coffee, doing the basic stuff to help out. And then next time, he gradually worked his way up to key PA, and then he worked his way up into the grip and electric team. And then just, then from there it went on up to the gaffer, who's kind of, one of the heads of the department.
Okay.
So I think the best thing to do is just get involved and do something, even if you have to volunteer.
Right.
And then gradually you'll end up getting a paid job if you're really good. Yeah, we don't really have any volunteers on ours. That everybody is paid, but I know some, and sometimes they'll let you do that. In the time of COVID, we can't do that. But other times, if somebody wanted to come on set for a day or two and help out, we would definitely give them the opportunity to do that.
Well, that's good
next
to know.
time. Maybe
well,
next
that's
time.
good to know.
Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth, we are so thrilled that you selected Hudson for this movie, and we are so excited to see it. Are you thinking maybe next December?
We hope so. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Hudson's a beautiful community. It is beautiful. And, and I'm so fortunate. We're so fortunate. I'm so happy that not only is it a beautiful community, it's got a beautiful community of people as well. So it's really ideal. It really is ideal for a film like this.
Well, we so appreciate it. And like I said, we are so thrilled, and anything that we can do. The biggest thing I know is snow. So
I know that if you guys had any control over that, we would have had snow. Trust me. But that's one thing we can't control is Mother Nature. Isn't that funny? It's so funny. Because even my family in Ohio sent me photos of all the snow, and I'm like, that's not very funny, guys.
I know. But I love the snowflakes behind you, so we appreciate those decorations in the old fire hall. So that's great.
But we have a wonderful production designer, so you'll see some of the beautiful stuff that she did in the film.
Well, that's great. Well, we are keeping the lights on for your return. We are keeping the decorations up. We are so excited to welcome you and the cast and crew back in January. If there's anything we can do to help along the way, please don't hesitate to reach out. But thank you so much for your time today. This is a great opportunity for the community to get to know you and hear some of the secret parts about how you're making this film. And so thank you so much. We wish you safe travels back, and the best to you and your family this holiday season. And we are excited for you to come back in January.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this is the least we could do. You guys have been so wonderful to work with. Thank you so much. And
well, we have lots of places. Yes, and we have lots of places for you to pick up lunch on your way out of town. So,
Oh yeah, I know. I heard.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
this
you go to-
is great.
yes, yes.
Okay,
So,
I'll definitely check it out.
yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully, we'd love to come back. I mean, I'm really hoping we can come back and do a film without, hopefully without COVID. So
I know, right? So,
yeah, so it would
we'll
be nice
be
to
here.
have. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much for your time, and again, safe travels.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Have a nice holiday, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you after the new year.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.